Hello, hello, hello. And hold on, y'all. I always do this. Add me to the stage. What's going on? Oh, sorry. Hi, how's everybody doing? I am Coach Lee. I am your hair coach, and today we're going to get into welcome to Beauty Pioneers. First of all, Don should be in here shortly. We are going to be diving in to, I forgot what we were talking about. We were talking about this earlier, about why the business, because we're still on the business. We're doing a series about the beauty world and the business, right? And so we're now talking about the effects of how we carry ourselves, how we present ourselves, things of that nature, of why a lot of Black beautiful hairstylists are having struggles when it comes to their business. I think that a lot of times, hold on, let me put it in here till Dawn gets here. I think a lot of times women in general, much less a hairstylist, don't realize that their business does not just stop at the at your skill set. It requires more of you. You're continually, I always tell people this, that you're forever you're a walking billboard. So when you're out somewhere, when you're going somewhere, how you carry yourself, how you represent yourself is you're going to attract the type of clientele that you want. And also you're also going to what's the word? You're going to attract the ones you may not want. And I think that this is a big issue, right, in the beauty world. And this is just to enlighten you and talk about some of the things that happens. But I think some of the bigger issues in the beauty world is the fact that a lot of us want so much. Even the clients, they want so much. However, you don't want to change and do the things that you need to do, and they don't want to change and do the things that they need to do, because a lot of times maybe the clientele that you're attracting, you wouldn't have to attract that client. Hold on, I think that's Dawn. What happened? A lot of times hey Don, how are you?
Oh, Coach Lee, how are you?
Hey Coach, how Don? How you doing? I'm doing great. It was a lot today. I barely made it here, but I made it. You know, I try to stay on time. So I was just talking about what we were talking about earlier, some of the things you want to talk about. So I guess we're going to go ahead and dive into some of the reasons. We're still dealing with the series of the business, right? But you were saying like some of the attitudes of the hairstylists, and also the way they present themselves and things like that plays a part in their business as well. Is that correct, Miss Coach Ferguson?
Yes.
Well, you look cute today. You breaking up a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead. All right, so you know I always got to put on. Hold on, let me see if I got it. Somebody was really doing the most today. Hold on. You already know how I am. Hold on, let me see real quick. I'm sorry, y'all. Give me one sec. You know I like to put in hairstylist news. So I'm trying to see which one is which, you know, and the back at the ranch type of situation. Hold on a second. I'm gonna play this one.
I'm personally not paying $800 for a salon, right? So here's the thing. There are stylists out here that overcharge, right? I'm a hairstylist. I personally don't charge what I'm not willing to pay. Times is hard out for everybody. I'm not paying $800 for a sewing. You're out your mind. What am I getting? And that's why I'm looking like this, because I have to now do my hair after I've been doing everybody else's hair for a whole weekend. How am I going to do my hair? I really have to calm down. I really be crashing out. I want to pay somebody, but y'all ODing. Y'all not about to break my pockets. Heck no. Very delusional. And believe you me, it has nothing to do with, oh, know your worth as a stylist. Da, 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 da. Listen, some of y'all are greedy as hell. Sorry, I'm going to say it. Because when I'm looking for a hairstylist, and I'm looking at these prices, babe, okay, and I'm a hairstylist, so yes, you know what I mean, I get it, make your money. However, I am never paying $800, and it's never that serious. You're braiding my hair. Ain't that much technique in the world for $800. I am so sorry.
That is a hairstylist, Don. Did you know that? Did you see? Can you hear me? That's a hairstylist.
Uh-huh.
I had to play her. I was like, you know, and you know, back at the Ranch News or in, you know, the the Black beauty world, here are some things that is going on in our industry. And I thought it was appropriate to play this because we're discussing about how hairstylists present themselves mentally. She said she would never charge $800 for a sew-in. And I was like, that's really good that she says that, because when you look at her and the way that she is carrying herself, she couldn't believe in charging anything like that, because she doesn't even believe in herself or taking care of herself. So these are some of the prime examples that I have seen. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start it off with this. Okay.
Have your hair washed, blow dried, flat ironed before you come in. That's not a licensed professional. That shouldn't be a licensed professional, because by law, we are required to shampoo your hair. I had a client come in the other day for a consultation, a trial for her wedding. And she was like, I already washed my hair. And I said, thank you. That was really kind of you. I'm rewashing your hair because I don't want to touch your hair for sanitation reasons, because I don't know what is in your scalp. And I can't then put heat on your hair and then you say that I caused heat damage or something went wrong and I'm not in control and I can't trace back what I've done.
So what's a red flag for a hairstylist? Like, they do this, I probably don't want to go there. Or they're requiring this.
Not shampooing your hair is a red flag for me. Come shampooed is a red flag for me. I'll pay extra. It's an extra charge. That isn't a problem, because maybe it's a time constraint. So there's that. But come with your hair washed, that's a red flag for me. I have mixed feelings on my book opens on 5 p.m. on the third Wednesday of the month, and it's only available for the next 30 days.
All right. So I was in agreement. First, I wasn't in agreement when she said about you charge extra for time constraint, but because I don't think that we should charge extra when it comes to shampooing the hair. However, I do think that if you're dealing with extensions and somebody had them in for a long period of time and you got to go through all this stuff, or maybe it's something of that effect, then I would understand that you charge an extra. But I think that, me personally, I think that you should your shampoo should be included, because it always has been that way. So for me, I'm kind of old school when it comes to that. I don't understand why we're charging extra to shampoo someone's hair. What's your thoughts on everything? Not just the charge, but what she was saying, Dawn.
We spend money on what we see value in. So it can very well be the same person saying, I couldn't charge someone $800 to do a service, but can spend $800 on a bag or designer item, or $800 on something, say eating out or dining out, right? So it all depends on where the person places their value. It's never $800 I don't think is too much to pay for anything. That is a person's skill set. You have to consider the value. Like, I don't think braids with extensions should start less than $800, $750 minimum, right? because you're applying natural hair to braiding hair, like real human hair. So when it comes to the actual application and the quality of the service, it has all been diluted by unlicensed professionals in the industry. Because when color is at $800, you could easily walk into a salon and come out paying $800 for a color application easily, right? Easily with correct color. We place value on they wouldn't see a problem with a Gucci bag, Gucci sandals, Gucci shoes, Gucci pajamas, Versace robe.
That's so true. That's so true.
You know.
I love that you said that, and I don't want, and this is the thing too, because I did a video where I said, if you can't afford it, you go where you need to. But it's kind of like, to me, I just feel like, don't bash because you become enlightened and find out about hairstylists that are making that kind of money and that have been in the industry and been doing well their whole career, and they don't have those struggles because they don't have those type of clientele. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's like if it's like, you know how women want a high value man. I always do this analogy. How value man has really not necessarily anything to do with his finances. It's him as a person, his character, who he is as a person, how he treats you, all those different things, how he sees himself, his self-esteem, different things like that, right? And then the money comes into play. Well, what if that is a high value man, but he's making $70K? Don't turn it down because you want it. That's what you wanted as a high value man, right? So he makes 70K, 50K, or whatever. Be happy with that. You understand what I mean? Instead of running behind somebody that's a millionaire, right? And you're running behind that, but they don't treat you right, or they don't, you don't like the way they treat you. It's the same thing to me when it comes to hair. It's like, if you want a sew-in for, I think it's what, 120 that they're doing or something like that, then you go there and let them do your sewing for 120 and be happy with it and rave about that hairstylist and love her. You understand what I'm saying? Uplift your sister or whatever. But if you find out another hairstylist is like, no, ma'am, sewing started at 800 and I'm not including the labor, right? And you have a problem with that and you start, that is, for me, is when it becomes an issue. But I think for me, I don't want to really focus on this, even though it's going to come up as we keep talking about the topic, but it's more about the value. And I think, like you were saying earlier to me, about how hairstylists carry and see themselves, a lot of them, to me, don't value themselves. And that's why they give these services that they give. They carry themselves a certain way because they don't really believe in themselves or anything like that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm going to go to another one and another one. Hold on. Let me see if this is it. I was pulling up so many, child. Hold on. No, that's the grandma. Let me see if this
Someone
one.
told me right now if this is fucking normal. I just took my sew-in out. Look at all this hair.
Sorry. Delete it. All right.
There's all this talk about, what, really took out salon culture and black salon culture. And they want to talk about stylists and, booking sites and that sort of thing. But what really did it, because I was there during that time, was when the girls started going natural. And this was around the Obama era in like 2008. When the girls started going natural and they would go to the salons, the stylists and the beauticians would turn their nose up at them. And it was like, I don't know what to do with this natural hair, because if people who, came of age after that, after 2008, have no idea how ubiquitous relaxers were. Everybody had a relaxer. You did not make it through high school without a relaxer. A silk press who is she? What is she? Not unless you had like the really, really, really quote unquote good hair did you get a silk press. Everybody else had a relaxer. So when people started cutting off that relaxer and those curls and kinks and coils started coming in, the girls who had, were beauticians were like, why would you want to do that to your hair? And they were not accommodating to the natural girls, which gave birth to the natural hair YouTuber, who taught you how to do your own hair, how you wanted it done at the house, who did not care how long it took to detangle because you were doing it at home yourself. And once you get used to doing something yourself, which is what the nail techs are feeling right now with the press-ons, once you get a good approximation of what you were paying for before, you're not willing to go back on that. And, yes, it was a lot of internalized, anti-blackness and internalized texturism that we really have not dealt with, because a lot of the girls went straight from the relaxers onto the wigs and never stopped. They never, like they said, okay, well, I won't deal with the chemicals no more, but that doesn't mean I'm going to look at my scalp, right? And the beauticians haven't helped. So that's my take.
That was kind of heavy, right? What she was saying, it was true. And I'm going to say this real quick, Don. I'm going to let you expound because, that definitely was your world. Remember earlier, I was telling you how I hate when people don't understand something because they tend to be negative about something. They want to bash it or, call it what is not because they just don't understand. That was how I was when I remember when she said that. I was actually convicted because I said I literally was like that. And where I was like, when they were coming there, I'm like, why do they want their hair like that? Why do they want their hair hard? Because I was used to doing the photo shoots and things like that. And I came from the glamour. Like my beauty school, it was about glamour, body, volume, color, you know what I mean? And then here you come with this hair talking about you want twisted locks or whatever. And I just didn't understand why they wanted that so bad, and that's our culture, right? So I grew up on relaxers, just like, you know what it's like? It's like the little girls now who like, what's wrong with weave? What's wrong with wearing weave all the time? You know what I mean? Because they grew up on it. Their mom introduced it to them very young. And I believe for me, my mom introduced it to me when I was 13. And all I know is that relaxers made my hair look soft, made my face look softer. So I was one of those hairstylists that turned my face up when somebody came in there with that. Can you kind of like expound on that whole, what she was talking about, and also talk about how was the money then too? Like how were the hairstylists that were natural at that time, the license or whatever? I'm not sure what they called, the certificate women or whatever. I'm not sure.
Once the natural girls kind of burst onto the market, this is where, like she said, hairstylists was like, oh no, because they were really into relaxers, shortcuts, that type of look, short, spike, finger waves, wavy. They were actually doing real hair, but they began to crush the market because unlicensed people began to abuse this relaxer system, right? So everybody wanted to start making shortcuts on the cut, and you could relax your hair at home, and then you come in and you could color your hair at home. You just come in, and I just go in and just style it, put the products on it, and style it because it had become so costly. This was the look. This was the trend, but it was too expensive to maintain. So the bootleg girl or the hustler in the hood, everybody who's doing the hair in the hood, and we all know Black folks gonna keep their hair done, period.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So they jumped on that market. And now because okay, we're not doing the relaxers anymore because we know the damage. We know that the truth is it's costly to go in and it's time consuming because I gotta wait because clients are gonna be backed up. During that era, the salon was packed. and people had to wait. You had to find somebody that was gonna actually help you to shampoo the relaxer out. You know, the whole process and the system behind the relaxer. I
Right.
think kind of put a strain and a break on top of, you know, unprofessionalism, people stealing your clients, you know, all type of stuff was going on in the industry that led birth even to the salon suites, right? So
Right.
it kind of everybody kind of jumped off into this individuality type of thing when it comes to the industry. But the basis of the beauty is still the same. The foundation is still the same, which is the science. Even when they're putting out and producing new products and new imaging, look at Tiana when you know she's the new Holly Berry, the young version, right?
Right.
Uh,
Right.
her and Kiki Palmer. Even with her brand, like putting her out there, she's been investing in her look from day one.
Right.
When you
Right.
go back on her videos from day one, she was working out. You know, she seemed to be
Mhm.
fit to me. She was always into style and into fashion. You know what I'm saying? So as she began to evolve, and you know, her mom saw her talent and knew where to place her. You understand what I'm
Mhm.
saying? To
Right.
produce what we see today. You understand what I'm saying? She has invested in herself to see what
Right.
it is that you produce today. That's why you could drape her in, you know, uh
Anything.
uh right. You can adorn her body because what her physique, she put the work in, right?
Right.
So a lot we have to learn to put the work in to support the outer beauty that we desire. You know, I'm
Mm.
all for cosmetic surgery and improving your looks for
Mhm.
improve your confidence. You know, because if I had an eye in the middle of
Mhm.
my forehead, I would
Right.
seek professional help to have it removed,
Absolutely.
right? So I have no issue with you know with things like that. I am
Right.
truly a beauty girl and wholeheartedly in it like 100%. But I think we should take accountability to like where we are in the industry and how much of it is our fault. If you've been in it for 20 years, 30 years, how much of it have you contributed? Like I would always preach about my brand was built on I don't do damaged hair.
Right.
That's a no. I came into the wig market and doing and promoting wigs because I was dealing with more hair loss, right?
Mhm.
The
Right.
damage was already done. The girl's hair was already falling out, right? So
Right.
the damage was so massive just from a business perspective, it was wiser to go ahead and look, you have a bigger issue here. You need to start producing hair loss treatments, wigs, yada 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 yada, you
Right.
know, this type of thing because we know that our beauty and how we view ourselves outwardly it is so huge. So we're gonna, you know, I have no, you know, you have cancer patients. People lose their hair for various, you know, reasons outside of abuse from the beauty industry.
Right. Right.
You know, um, so you know, balancing out the science. I know I might be babbling, but that's my take on it.
Yeah, yeah. I think the major word that I heard from it, and I thought it was really, really, really good. You basically described it is that, and I've heard this before, but accountability.
Yeah.
Accountability because of the fact that a lot of us, what they did was we always found an escape. We're always looking for the easy way out. I
Yes.
always tell, people who have asked me advice on how to go when they're starting their career in the beauty world. I always tell them you have to create good habits and work smart. but don't come in with the mindset of a hustler. You can
Right.
have the hustler mentality. And to me, when I hear hustler, I'm more masculinity. You can have that mentality, or you can have that when you're marketing, when you're, you know, the business side. But when it comes to the mindset of, you know, oh, you know what I mean? Who this is, okay, I'm gonna charge you $50 for that because that's gonna be my water bill. And that right there, you're never gonna make it in the career world and in the beauty world, because of the fact that you're thinking on that level. And that I'm gonna segue into the video that I found. You're never gonna make it that way. And the reason why you won't make it that way is because that's a hustler mindset. So a hustler only thinks for today. They don't think about tomorrow. They don't think about the longevity. When you're thinking about things, you have to think about months, years in advance of the things that you want. Like Don and I were talking about, like when we're collaborating, we're bringing things together. It's not like something we act on impulse. We think about how is that going to enhance the business? How is that going to help our audience? Because really, this is the whole purpose of Beauty Pioneers, is to help our sisters and help women, period, with hair loss, hair care, all those different things. And so when accountability plays a part, now you have to point out the pain points to the hairstylist and to your clients. But when I say the hairstylist, that when you point out the pain points, we use the excuse of, well, I don't like her attitude, and my clients didn't like me being in the salon with her, so I went and got a salon suite. When in reality, you probably were one of those women that caught an attitude every time it was time to pay the booth rent, because you didn't like the fact that that woman made more. You saw her, that owner, making money off of her skills and her gift, and you didn't like that because now I got to even give you more money. You understand what I mean? You could have been that type of person. You don't want it. You want to be your own boss, but you don't have the skills or the understanding of the business side. So you jump out on your own because no one has to hold you accountable. That's what this whole natural thing came about. It wasn't the fact that it wasn't just the fact that we did not like, or I did not like doing natural hair. I was terrified of it, but it was more of the accountability part, because now I have to learn something that I never wanted to learn, but it was there, right? I had to learn the skill set, and I would be accountable for how I carried out that skill set. I had to, and I didn't want to do that. You understand what I mean? I'm talking about the natural hair world. But a lot of us, there are things in our industry that we don't want to do, but we have to do, or we should do, because it's only going to better us. It's only going to make you a better hairstylist. It's only going to allow you to grow. Anything that is challenging you in a good way, I'm not talking about foolishness, but that challenges you, or a person that comes into your life and they make you sharpen yourself. What the scripture says, iron sharpens iron. Anything that makes you want to be better, then you got to do it, even when it hurts. It's kind of like, even in a bad situation, or someone bad is in your life, and you got to learn a lesson from it. You still got to, even if that person was the one that wronged you wrong, that did the wrong to you, there's still a lesson in it that you have to learn. What did I do to allow this? Or, you know, why didn't I see this? Just different things. You have to hold yourself accountable. And I think that's a very, very big part that Don was bringing out earlier when it comes to that. So I'm going to go to, I can't like really see, but I'm gonna see. Let me go to this one. Hold on, I think it's this one. Hold on.
Just need to go ahead and make a documentary called Surviving Black Beauticians, because
no, they need to make a series on new age hairstylists, because back in the day, 90s hairstylists would never. Back in the day, hairstylists was licensed, and a lot of them went to church, and they built a lot of their clientele from the women in the Black community. Because don't let your work be trash, because that's the end of your reputation, all right? All the stylists had their own salons, and they had their licenses posted up at the door. They had an assistant that would greet you at the door and book your appointments, and they would also have an assistant that was on wash and hair duty, and they would slay no less than 5 women at the same time. 3 would be under the dryer, 1 would be getting her hair washed, and another 1 would be in the hot seat. And the only problem we had with our black beauticians back in the day was that they were scissor happy, taking off inches when you said it was a trim. And they had fines if you canceled appointments and if you came late. If there was a hair Olympics, 90s level hairstylists would win gold every time.
I had liked that when she said, especially when she did that part and said the license was stamped on. I was like, that is so true. I remember, I always tell this story when I left Miami, right? And I really, my career took off when I went to, it started when I was in Orlando, Oviedo, Florida. And then when I went to North Carolina, I start seeing some waves and stuff like that. And at that time I was starting over again for like the second time. Right. And I remember when I came back to Miami, right? I was actually not in Miami. I was actually in Fort Lauderdale, and I was at a Dominican shop. And this girl was like, I was like, I had did my work for the day. And she was like, oh, no, don't leave your license here. I said, why? Because, we so used to like, you either put it in a frame and you hang it up. She said, somebody will steal it in the morning. You won't have it. I said, why? She said, oh, they stealing license so they can work under your license. Now that's South Florida. And I was like, so I got into the habit, which certain things will make you not even want to do hair in a salon anymore, because I was like, man. And then when I did get situated, I always did both salons, a diverse salon and the hood salon, because you still got to stay close to the ground so you can know what's coming out, what they're doing, or whatever the case may be. I just did it with hair care. I'll do the style, but I won't destroy your hair, compromise the hair. And I remember when I was working in the hood salon, my friend had so many clients, like they would be sitting on the sofa. It'd be like 7 to 8 of them coming to get their quick weaves. And that was when the hairstyle, I think it was the one that was pulled back. I don't know. It was like a pull back and this came forward or whatever. They still doing it to this day, but she can slay some hair. But I remember one day I said, why you got the shampoo bowl? I was the only one using the shampoo bowl. She said, oh, we don't wash hair no more here in Miami. I said, what? That was my first time realizing that they didn't wash hair in Miami. And I think this was like 2014. I just was like 2014, 2015, right around that. And I was just like, man. So what they do, she said, they just come with their hair already washed and blow dried, and sometimes I make them tack them down and braid it up. So that was my thing on the whole. I just wanted to throw that part out there. But Dawn, what you thought about that one?
I'm a part of that 90s era because I graduated in from beauty school in 91, right?
Oh,
so I was a baby. So coming up even though I graduated during that time in 91, I was still exposed already to the industry. You know what I'm saying? In terms of where Miami was, I think Miami at the time had an influx of the Caribbean. It was a melting pot of Bahamian, Haitian, African Americans are the ones that actually, held the licensing for, the Caribbean. You only needed to have a certificate. So I think a lot of things incorporated into the industry. You could make money other ways. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So back then, it was so much money to be made in the industry. The economy was great. Everybody was getting their hair done. You could have, 3 and 4 and 5 clients. Like she said, the only thing y'all problem was y'all was cutting too much.
Right. They were. I was like, she was right.
Yeah. So, which said we were skilled, right?
Right.
So if we were chopping up hair back then, those were skilled stylists. So then you had a whole wave of people that were I call it's a whole lot of the culture that came, that kind of propelled onto the national stage, which is the quick weave. You wasn't going in the salon to do a quick weave. That style was created on the porch, in the hood, in the projects. Okay.
Right.
Because the application takes time. Okay. When you talk about braids or boho braids, those styles propelled into the mainstream because they take a lot of time. There's no way you can consider getting boho braids and it's under $800. Like it's going to take you at least 8 hours to do it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So why would you want to go on someone's job? If somebody say you don't want to go to McDonald's for $11 an hour, so why would you want someone to stand on their head for less than $100 an hour for you to put boho braids that's down to your ankle or at your behind for that length of time? It's like it doesn't compute. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
A lot of practices incorporated their way into mainstream, and then people were just like, look, I need to make money to pay my rent or this is that and the other, but it couldn't sustain itself. That's why you see such a huge empty spaces of salon suites, because that module can't survive.
You know what's crazy, Dawn? Now that you say that, I remember. I'm gonna throw out a few people that I knew. The first one was Tasha Cox. Shout out Tasha's Braids. I remember ninth grade. That girl was booked out for the year, and she did those tiny what you call them? The bob plaits. Right? That was like ninth grade. Tasha was a bit making money. I remember another girl named Dana, and that was one of my ex-friends, her cousin. And I remember Dana. I remember another girl who actually did my hair because I just won them. We called them pigtails. When I went elsewhere out of Miami, they call them pinch plaits, but we call them pigtails, right?
Yes. And those girls weren't licensed.
They weren't even like
those girls were eating up the community and they were not licensed. I remember Dana, and I was like, I do braids too. And they was like, girl, you don't do braids like that. I'm like, but I'm licensed. But it's like it's like, girl, no, you don't do them like her. But I understand once you have established a brand in the community, it's hard to, you're not gonna. But go ahead. My apologies.
I think that you're fine. I think that was the foundation, because when I think back on it, because and let me tell you, in my high school, shout out to Carroll City Senior High, Chief Pride. In my school, we had a cosmetology school course. They can actually get their license. A lot of them was like with the dope boys and things like that, and they was into their hair and they, you know what I'm saying? They come out in dress, but they didn't. A lot of them, I realized later on when I'm talking to them, they didn't even get their license. I'm like, you had a chance to get the license for free, which was crazy to me, right? Now let's go ahead and fast forward. But the reason why I brought these young ladies up, right? And I'm gonna tell you something. I think it was Dana. I remember that when she was doing, because she was doing it for, and I know you know about this too. They was doing it for like football players, wives.
Yes.
Them pigtails. Y'all call them pinch plaits. We call them pigtails. Them pigtails used to look like glass. I was like, I gotta get my hair done. Right? So now I'm grown. I'm like, Mama, I gotta get my hair done like that. And I was dating somebody, and I was like, I need some money. I went to Qualina. Qualina did, we call it, what do you call that? When you just do the braids here, we call it a roundabout or something, like it was something round and around the world in the middle, meaning they're going to sew in the curly weave there. But then she did the pigtails around. You couldn't tell me nothing. But I remember that this is the key point. This is way back in 90. shoot, 91, 92, right around that time, right around that era. Let me take that back. 95, 94, 95. In that time, I remember they was charging what you talking about. Dumb braids was like started at 1,200, I think, and went to two grand, depending on the length that you wanted, because she would do them long. She didn't just do the bob plaits. Then you had Qualina, that round away, and this thing I had, that was $600, and that wasn't a full pigtails.
Yep.
And guess what? That took time because she was very meticulous in the way her skill outdid you. You weren't looking for her to do the license, and I wasn't really educated. I was fresh out of high school. But when you look at those things, they knew their value.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I understand clients, because I feel like if you're a hairstylist, you don't know your value and you just charging by what everybody else is doing, but you don't bring value to the table, you cannot ask somebody to pay for that. But the skills set at that time, they was on point, because all of them girls, they was booked out for a year or two. I always remember that, because I was like, I can't wait to get mine done. And when I booked mine, I was waiting 2 months later to get in. And so they understood their value. And it was great that you brought up today. You were saying that you wanted to talk about how the hairstylists carry themselves and how they see themselves. And it is a clash on now. The reason why clients are complaining about the prices and things like that is because a lot of these clients, a lot of the hairstylists, the clients done lost respect, not just for the industry itself. They don't have respect for the hairstylists because of the mindset, the business mindset of things. And guess what? They don't want to pay you that. They don't see the value in you because you don't see the value in yourself. You want to expound a little bit more?
I think it's
Hey,
a lack
Keisha.
of a lack of skill set.
Okay.
I think it's a lack of skill set. Like I said, after COVID, the whole world had to readjust, right? Everybody
Right.
was looking for a hairstylist and a barber to cut their hair because they had been home. They were looking for people to give their hair, give them a color because their gray was in, and they had lots of they needed to get the color and get caught up and look normal because they were hibernating for a year. So the beauty industry, or the cosmetologists and barbers, were in high demand because people wanted beauty services done.
Right.
Okay, they wanted to get, and it's still a high demand career. People,
Right.
they're still asking for beauty professionals. The thing is, the time that it takes to develop your skill set, because you could start off in school, at home doing hair, you could kind of play around, kind of style, hey, I'm a great stylist, right?
Right.
Because that's how trends start in the hood. Why? That's why we go to the person in the hood, because they can style hair really well. We don't think about if I'm gonna have any hair left when they finish. That's why we have so much traction alopecia from where they used to put the sew in the middle and the braids around the front. When they would put the braids around the front, it was all that tension that they would put around the hairline. So that particular hairstyle was producing alopecia along the front. So this is why you came across, you had to push, or all these different frontal closure, the 360 closure, because all these methods of doing certain styles, alopecia in the back. Why do you have alopecia in the back of your head?
Yeah.
You have alopecia in the back of your head, right? So you have alopecia based on fungus, based on leaving the braids in too long. You have an inflamed scalp. And we all know that, the tighter it is, the longer it's going to stay. So when they say, ouch, my hair is it's going to loosen up. Just go put some ice on it. When you leave the salon and you have to take an aspirin, you're not doing cosmetic surgery. You shouldn't have to take any type of medicine to subdue any type of pain from beautifying
Man.
your hair. You shouldn't have to do that. So this is where the science doesn't support the craft. It doesn't support the craft. So the people that are taking out your hair and doing all these ridiculous things aren't licensed. That is a major red flag. Like the young lady said, what's a red flag to you? The fact that they don't want to shampoo my hair. The red flag for me is what type of services are you rendering? And those braiders, it is entirely too much tension. Why aren't you cleansed? Why are you not cleansing the client's hair? And you should not be using edge control. The science does not support the style.
Come on.
It doesn't support the style. This synthetic hair is made out of plastic. When you burn this hair, when you set it afire, remember when we used to braid the styles and we burned it on the end, and what did it do? It melted.
Yeah.
You was able to melt it into, you hit it, you be like, ow, ow. I remember burning my little fingertips because I started out doing braids. Now, how in the world do you think this plastic that you are applying to coily hair, 4C texture hair, which is extremely springy and sponge-like, right? You're applying plastic to this type of texture. You expect to get breakage. And then you go in and you apply alcohol, edge control, foaming lotion. You apply those things to the plastic that you use to entwine into this client's hair. So when the product evaporates, it's nothing left for the hair to do but break off. And the plastic serves as little small razors, just chiseling away at the follicle, at that strand. So if you notice people that wear braids, when they take their braids out, their hair is completely destroyed. They have to end up chopping it off, going in, getting a nice haircut. And that's what they're like, oh my God, my hair grew so long, all down my back.
Ma'am, I can see your bra strap.
Right. Just because your hair is long does not mean it is healthy. So it's like, oh, y'all just want to cut people's hair off, ma'am. You got this one strand in the middle. You just got a patch of hair, and you're just trying to hold on to it. And just imagine trying to put a full install on someone's hair that has just that much like hair left. The proper closure would be like a melt. You shouldn't be applying any tension at all. But yet and steady they do. Go ahead.
Man, Don, you own it today, honey. Coach Don, you is on it today, honey. Break it down, honey. That's the science of things. I just want to say that real quick. Shout out, hey, Keisha. Keisha say, hey, beautiful ladies. It's great to see you both this evening. Now, the one thing I do want to talk about as well is that, and I'm glad you're talking about this, I think people want to think about, me talking about the financial part of things, right? And I talked about, certain services are considered a luxury. You don't have to get a wig. You don't have to get a weave. You don't have to get those things. You could just enjoy your hair. How about that? But when you come into a certain area where you're asking that expertise to take hours of their time away from families, of their time away from their other clients to take care of your hair, and that may take a few hours or maybe a day, depending on what kind of service, that becomes a luxury, whether it is aesthetics, hair design, or everything into one, right? So that's my first issue. And I think that for me, I feel like put some respect on it. Put some respect on the fact that if I were to go to your job, and I know you guys have heard this before, no one tells you about what you should be making. You applied for the job. They told you your hourly or your salary rate, right? You said, I agree to it because they saw the value in you and said, you're going to dedicate at least 40 hours into my company So I'm going to invest in you. And it is mind-boggling to me that we have women, that clients that are coming back and they're saying it. And the only reason they're saying this, I'm going to take it right back to the hairstylist. How are you carrying your business? This is what Dawn is talking about. What Dawn is saying, you have the skill, right? But you have no science. So it's kind of like, I don't know why I'm going back to the scriptures. It's like when they say, what is charity without love? It's like a tinkling brass. It's just you making noise. Eventually, it's like when somebody has an addiction, they say, I got the willpower. You can only have willpower for so long. That's going to run out. So you have to have the science to be able to carry it, to be able to allow the longevity of the style and of the hairstyle in its healthy state. The problem is we're looking for hairstyles. We don't care about the healthy state or the science. We just want the hairstyle to give us a longevity. And so the hairstylist is losing because they don't know their value. They don't know they need to tell someone, listen, I just spent 16 hours on your head. You have to pay me this amount, whatever that is, $1,200, whatever the case may be. And I'm going to tell y'all something, and you may not like it, but it is what it is. I want to know how many other race of people are having to have topics like this of addressing hairstylists, understanding their value and charging what they're supposed to because of them having the skill sets, right? How many other race of people do you see videos where they're complaining about hair color that starts at $200? You guys are complaining about a sew-in or a quick weave that you said is not quick. It's not quick. But you need to be held accountable as well as a client to go into an establishment where they're telling you the first red flag, I'm not washing your hair. And then so you want to go there, right? And you're going to get the kind of service that you get. And then you want to come out and complain when you got your $70 worth or your $50 worth of hair. And you want to complain. And listen, it's a lot of women, hairstylists, women and men that do hair at that price point, and they do good work. But for some reason, you attract how you feel about yourself as well. So just because the hairstylists don't find value in themselves, a lot of the clients don't either. So you both attract each other, and then you both tear each other down. A lot of you do that. You tear the hairstylist down, the hairstylist complaining about you guys not wanting to pay, and it's just this cycle going on. But what if we were in a world where the clients and the hairstylists understood each other's role and they wanted the type of service that a lot of you talk about that you want? You want a 5-star service, you want a 5-star hairstylist. What if all of that happened, but it came with the cost, right? Then what would you have to complain about? You can't just put it on the other person. You have to say to yourself, why would I go into a place like that? I just saw a girl. I want to start taking care of my skin more. And I wanted a black esthetician. And I found one in I think she's in Miramar or Pembroke Pines. And guess what? I live all the way at the bottom. But I did my research. And I looked at the products that she used. And I said, okay, these are pretty good products. And guess what? I'm going to invest my money. No matter what her price is, I'm going to invest because I can tell she invests in herself. I can tell she invests in her business. These are the green flags that you should be looking for. But you don't look at that. All we get is the Jedi mind trick of her skill set is good. She's good at hair design. She's good at aesthetics. She's good at braiding. But like Dawn said, when you take all that out, that plastic that has carcinogen in it now, it doesn't matter to you. All that matters is how long I'm gonna be able to wear the carcinogen in my hair, and how long I don't have to. I can wake up in the morning, pat my head on my head, and keep going, whether it's stank or whatever. Because a lot of you don't like to wash, and don't come for me in the comments because I will say it. How many of you? When will this end? When will you find value in yourself as a client? And when will the hairstylist find value in herself so her business can go up. So I wanted to like point that out. I know y'all like, what? We talking. Don ain't playing, honey. She letting y'all know what it is. All right. She is not playing. Okay, so let me go to something else. Hold on, let me try this one.
On a serious note though, guys, why are all hairstyles costing the same price now? Like, why do I have to pay $125 for a silk press? Not a treatment, not color. Why are the girls out here charging $185 and $200 for a ponytail? $125 for you to wash, blow dry, and flat iron my hair? $200 for a ponytail? Ponytails don't even last. Ponytails aren't even long-term styles. You want me to pay that for a ponytail? That's a sew-in price. That's a wig install. You want me to pay that for a ponytail? That's gonna last me all of 3 days? Maybe a week before it starts to look crunchy and crusty? And I get it, right? It's inflation. Everything is expensive. Nothing is the same price. But let's be for real. Because, see, the prices is going up, but the customer service is not getting better. Somebody help me out. I'm trying to figure out. Are y'all okay?
You want me
Don.
to address her or what?
Yeah, go ahead, Donna.
Honey, it is not about the price or the service or the hairstyle, because the hairstyle is not supposed to last you past anywhere from 24 to 72 hours. Okay? So there's no hairstyle that is supposed to last you a week. Okay? There's no hairstyle that's supposed to last you 30 days. There's no hairstyle that's supposed to last you 6 months. Okay? Those are units that you put on. Okay? Yeah, if you're placing a unit and there's and that, which is glue on the scalp and adhesive, and you're melting on a unit on someone's bald head, yes, that may be 30 days to a month, but they have a whole system in which they send you home with to maintain that particular install. But when you go and you receive a install or a shampoo blow dry, you don't hear somebody come in for a shampoo blow dry and then they went home and wake back up, or by the time they go back home, they have an afro. It's impossible for your silk press to hold if your hair is porous, right? So it doesn't support the science. So you have to understand there's no hairstyle, my dear, that's supposed to last you past 72 hours. You're supposed to wash your hair within 3 days. You're supposed to clean the scalp at least once a week.
Let me add to that, Don. I'm sorry. Go ahead and finish.
Go ahead.
I gotta add to that.
Yeah.
Because it is a myth that a lot of people, we grew up like that. Oh, they gotta wash their hair every day because they heavy smelling all, whatever, talking about other race of people. Why do you think that? And let's try to break this myth right here. Why do you think that just because you have more coily hair and more kinky hair and they have more straighter hair and they don't have the coil, do you think that they should wash their hair every day and you don't? Where your hair, I just want you to think, I'm speaking out loud for all of you who feel like you don't have to wash your hair at least on a weekly basis. So you are the one, we are the one, Black women, Black men, or whatever. We are the one that have coily hair. We are the one that suffer with dry, making sure we get moisture to our hair, that our hair is hydrated, right? We are the ones that need that, right? Therefore, when we get a service done, a lot of times, let's say like she talked about the silk press or whatever, we have to build your hair up in the shampoo and the conditioning process to, by the time we get to the flat iron, right? We have put things inside the strands of your hair. We've cleaned off the scalp, right? We've done all of the work in order for you to get this bouncy, beautiful, healthy hair, right? We added products to that. Why would you think that you need a silk press to last you for 2 and 3 weeks? You put more products. If your belief is other race of people have to wash their hair every day, right? And a lot of them don't. They may wait a week. They do the same thing as well. But if you have to put more products in your hair, you don't think that you should be washing it more? If you are in the gym, you don't think that you should be washing your hair more? I want you to understand that makes no sense. And this whole thing about, they say we're not supposed to wash our hair a lot because it would dry it out. Only way it dried out if you're using the wrong product, because anytime you're shampooing or whatever you're doing your hair, you're also conditioning your hair. So we're no different from other race, except the textures of our hair, and we have an extra step or a few extra steps to go to in order to get our hair in a state of healthiness. So I'm so glad that Don was explaining to you, why are you going into the salon? That's a red flag. Where someone is telling you can get a quick weave and they can snatch that off and leave the cap on your head and apply another quick weave on for another 30 days. I had a video where I'm showing women that are addicted to hair weave and hair extension, and how this one lady left it on for 8 months. No wash, no nothing. How do you think? You think that you're the only one that can laugh and talk about other race of people and how their hair is when they don't wash it? What do you think that they're saying about you? If you fall in that category, you are very delusional. And the second thing I wanted to say, she said, how much? She said $125 to wash, blow dry, and shampoo. Do you know how much other race of people get services like that? What we charge at a junior hairstyle for a junior hairstylist, and they come in a weekly. Please, yeah. Listen, this is to enlighten. It's not to tear you down. I don't want you to think like I'm just. But I need you to grow. I need you to understand and open up. And I need hairstylists to understand who they are. If you are a licensed cosmetologist, this is what you should be telling your clientele. Because let me tell you what's going to happen. If you understand that you have to use the science and the aesthetics and the hair design, all these things together, right? And you are a licensed cosmetologist, don't worry about pushing hair care and telling them I'm not going to compromise your hair. Don't worry about them walking out the door, because what you're doing is leveling up your business. You're leveling up your what do you call it, Don? Like the law of attraction. So now you're putting yourself in a position where you're going to start attracting women that actually value themselves on a regular basis. I'm talking about Black women on the norm. If they came to your salon and you told them you was charging $75 to add some tracks in their hair or whatever, they would walk out, because they would know that's a red flag. Something is wrong. They wouldn't even go to someone that charged that, because they know, she don't value her products. I don't know what she's going to put in my hair. She don't value her skill set. They already know. But if you value yourself, you're going to put yourself in a position where people are going to say, oh, no, girl, she don't do them quick weaves because it's compromised. I'm not saying you don't need to do those things, but I'm saying that you need to put yourself in a position where you're known as someone that's not going to compromise your client's hair, and your prices should match your skills. and your hours. If you're there for hours, it should match it. And I promise you, when your skills, when you do someone's hair and they see the beauty in it and it's healthy and whatnot, when they go out that door, 5, 10 more other women will come, and that will raise your business. But if you keep thinking, the only reason why you're thinking the way you're thinking is because you're dealing with clients that don't want to invest. Like the girl said, can you believe they charging that? Yes. The prices, you want us to still have the price from the 90s? When
Can
I
you
don't
believe
invest,
the groceries are the prices that they are in the store? Like, can you imagine gas prices? You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't know how, you expect the cost of living has gone up all around you post COVID. What make you think that your hair services, won't go up? That's why a lot of
right,
people, a lot of stylists went to 9 to 5, went and got a corporate job because they were
right,
like, oh no, a haircut, barbers are $45. So they was like, oh no way. And some markets paid for it and some markets didn't.
right. And so, the only reason why is because how you present yourself. If you're one of the hairstylists that come in with your feet dragging, with the bonnet on, you don't invest in your business, and people will see it, they will know, then you're going to stay at the level you are, and you're going to be on a 9 to 5 if you're not already on a 9 to 5, right? So you're going to be there. And I think that was one of the most, these videos and these lives that we're doing is to make you come up. Oh, Keisha did some crazy. She talking about no. Oh, she said, Coach Don, are you over there having a flashback? I guess a flash like from people doing the craziness, I guess. And no wash for 8 months make me itch just hearing you talking about it. And when she opened them things up, it was just like, and y'all know, it's a lot of y'all on here that know you're going to come to this video, you're going to watch it during the week. When you open it and all that dust and particles, and then you got the nerve to sit and talk about, oh, they got to wash their hair. We don't wash our hair like that. We don't have to wash our hair. Don't brag about that because that's a lie. I'm like, oh, remember that one, Don? Oh, when your hair dirty and you get a relaxer, your hair grow, it make your hair grow longer. Some foolishness. I was like,
Yeah, they said it.
girl,
Your hair it grows better when it's dirty. If you have to, when you go and have your teeth professionally cleaned, at the dentist you have to brush your teeth still afterwards because you're eating and you're drinking. So you cannot possibly think that you don't clean your scalp and your body. It's like it does. It makes absolutely no sense. So when you're having a consultation with your client and your person, you have to have realistic conversations with them. You have to ask them about their lifestyle. It's not to get in their business. Ma'am, are you active? Do you exercise a lot?
right,
Because if you do, a sew-in may not be optional for you right now because it's going to require you to clean your scalp on a weekly
right.
basis. If you work out, excuse me, if you work out every day, it's going to require you to cleanse your scalp. You walk up, nobody's going to tell you your hair smells. And I just want to tell you this put it out there. You smell like you need to be alone. That's what I
That
want
was
to tell y'all. You
that
smell
was so nice
your
the way you said
mhm.
that. That was so nice the way you said that. You smell like you need to be alone, precious lamb. But
Yes.
and listen, when y'all do that pat, the G pat, the GP, that ghetto pat, and y'all do that right
Yeah.
there,
Hmm.
I'm like, how what the average person is thinking? Because I know what I'm thinking. I'm like, how nasty is that? When did she
Right.
wash her hair? I don't understand that. Now we are
Bacteria
going
on the scalp.
bacteria. That's the only reason why it's itchy. It is
Right.
nothing more. It's itchy because
Absolutely.
you haven't done the work. So
Yes.
you don't value. Listen, when you come in there, when you come into any place and you ask them how long can I wear this hairstyle, we automatically know you don't value yourself. And to be honest, I don't want to do the work on you. I'm gonna tell you
Yeah.
why. because you're going to go out there in the world and you're going to be walking around with that same, it's going to look great the first couple of weeks. But then after that, that thing going to be looking greasy and you're going to, you know, be trying to do your own little thing to it or whatever. And it look a hot mess. And then you're going to be telling myself, oh, Coach Lee did it. No. Don't tell him that. So I would prefer, me personally, that you did not, because even people with hair units, because I work for Hair Club, we had women, they had different packages that you can use, that you can go into, and they would come weekly to get their hair washed because they did not want to do their hair at home. And these are women with systems that needed it. I'm talking about toppers, the same things y'all putting on to do y'all the little hairstyles or whatever. They did not have hair, and they understood the value. And I'm telling you, the packages started at $5K because they were women. Most of them women were medical issue. It wasn't based on traction alopecia, believe it or not. And they were Black women. Black women, majority, believe it or not, was more Caucasian women that I was one of the hairstylists that only worked with the women to bring that, to bring the women units up, because it was always about Hair Club for Men. So we were a part of that project to get more clients in there that were women, which we did. And so if the women who done permanently lost their hair can wash their hair and come into an establishment and pick a package for $5K because their hair is gone and it's a medical reason, who are you to actually walk around and think that you're not supposed to wash your hair? And I don't know how we got on this tangent, Don, because we are at the end of our show. You guys have to see us next week, Sunday, 7 p.m. sharp, where we're going to continue. I don't know if we're going to continue to dive into this. I'm going to see where, you know, Don and I will sit down, because our job is to educate you guys, to get you to say, what do the beauty industry needs, whether it's the clients or it's the hairstylists? Like, what is it that our world needs? What do we need to enlighten or educate you on, and point out the things that you may think is normal and good, and it's really, really not, you know? And I am so grateful for Coach Dawn, guys, who brings it every time. Boy, she heavy on the science. That's my nerd friend. And I just love when she just get in the flow of things. And I love when somebody can tell you off intelligently. Like, it's just like, honey, like when she said, you smell like you want to be alone. That like, basically you stink. Now I would just said it. So I want to thank you all. Keisha said, hold on, y'all. Keisha said, oh, she was talking about you had a hot flash because you was fanning yourself.
Yes, Keisha. I have to learn to keep my fan at my desk. I did not. But
she also said, yeah, that's an age-old myth. Dirt makes your hair grow. Yeah, I know, because I heard my family members say it. Oh, my family, keep it real 100. If your hair is smelly or scalp is sour, or you will get a polite word from the Lord. What? Keisha said you're gonna get a word from the Lord.
Lord.
I really enjoyed this session. I pray that as the week goes on, guys, share this video, tell people about it. If you are looking for a hair coaching, if you are someone that just want to change the way you look at your hair, you value your hair, and you want to get some coaching on how to either grow your hair, or maybe you have hair loss, whatever the levels you're experiencing, go ahead and click the link that you see on this live and go ahead and set up an appointment. Don, you have the event coming up. I forgot. Let me see if I still got it on here. You have that event coming up in the month of July, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you got that event coming up. And I know this one is not for that event, but I'm still play it so you can talk about, they can see some work. Hold on.
Oh my
So
goodness.
so you'll be hosting your event, well, your classes on, can you tell us real quick about it?
On the
And then
19th, I'll be hosting 2 master classes, one on the classic bob and the other one is makeup 101. So if you want like hands-on training or you're interested in skill development, you can reach out to Coach Lee or reach out to me and we could kind of, get you on your way.
all right. We will see you guys next week, 7 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
sharp Eastern Standard Time. Love you, mean it.
Love you.
Smooches.
Ciao, Bella.